ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। रीडिंग फ्रॉम श्रीमद् भागवतम, फर्स्ट कैंटो, चैप्टर 8. Suta Goswami said, "Therefore the Pandavas, desiring to deliver water to the dead relatives who had desired it, went to the Ganges. The ladies walked in front." Purport: to date, it is a custom in the Hindu society to go to the Ganges or to any other sacred river to take bath when death occurs in the family. Each of the family member pours out a pot full of Ganges water for the departed soul and walks in a procession with the ladies in the front. The Pandavas also followed the rules more than 5,000 years ago. Lord Krishna, being a cousin of the Pandavas, is also amongst the family members. Presents the Bhaktivedanta purport. This is a chapter where Lord Krishna has almost completed the battlefield of Kurukshetra, but still enemies are there. Like Ashwatthama, he could not do anything much, but he was very frustrated because he could not do anything to fight against Pandavas for killing his father. Dronacharya was a very ideal sage, Brahmana, was a learned sage. When he was taken as a teacher for Pandavas and Kauravas, he was very, very poor. And although he was very much full in knowledge, to take care of his family, he took shelter of Kshatriyas. And because he had taken shelter of the Kuru dynasty, even though he was a very ideal Brahmana, in the sense he was self-controlled, even though his friend insulted him because he had casually told him that I will give you my kingdom when I go back to my own kingdom. Today we are friends, Gurukul friends. Drupada and Dronacharya were Gurukul friends, school friends. When he went back to his house, he forgot everything and he was doing his duties. He had not taken it so seriously. But Dronacharya had taken it very seriously, that he had told me that he will give me his kingdom. So when he went and asked, he insulted him. So he was not very happy with it. Later, when Pandavas became his disciples, as a Guru Dakshina, Arjuna actually went and captured Drupada as a captive. So Drupada was not silent. He performed a sacrifice where he desired a son could kill Dronacharya, who will be the cause for his death. But he was very intelligent, Drupada. He sent his son for learning the military art, because he was a military teacher. Dronacharya was a military teacher. He sent him to Dronacharya only because he was an expert in military science. He sent to him so that he will learn every art and kill him only. But Dronacharya was the ideal Brahmana, ideal teacher. Brahmana is not a caste only by birth. Brahmana means a learned teacher, self-controlled in mind, self-controlled in senses. They don't mind being killed. At the same time, they follow all their duties. It's a duty of a teacher to teach anyone who comes to him, whether he is a king's son or a poor man's son. The qualification in the Vedic age was not considered by richness or by poverty. It was on the quality of the disciple. The quality of a disciple is, he is very ideal student, he will be accepted. And the teacher will see what kind of training he requires. If he deserves a training of one more teacher training as a learned Brahmana, he will give him Brahmanical training. If he is actually of a Kshatriya race, he will protect others. Shat means hurt. Shat means when somebody has got some pain on the body, injury on the body by somebody else, by a miscreant. Then the Kshatriya, Kshatrayate, one who can protect him, is a Kshatriya. He will definitely go and give him protection. Kshatriya doesn't discriminate even between human being and other animals. If a cow is being killed, then a Kshatriya will not be quiet. Like Maharaj Parikshit, when he saw in his kingdom, there was one miscreant, one black man holding a knife, and he was actually beating the cow. He could not tolerate. So real king, a real Kshatriya doesn't tolerate. So this kind of quality of a Kshatriya, if any student is having, he is given military science. We have earlier discussed why Ekalavya was denied for training of a Kshatriya by Dronacharya. Although he was ready to give training to an enemy's son who will kill him in the future, because as a duty of a teacher, he is not supposed to give training to somebody who is not having that qualification. People generally, they make a story about everything, how there was a caste system. This caste system being exploited is in Kali Yuga. Within 1000 years before that, the degradation started. 5,000 years back, Kali Yuga started, degradation also started. But it's the later years, the last few centuries, it had become too extreme and again it has come down. That how, because somebody is born in a tribal family, he was not given, Ekalavya was denied education. And somebody is born in a rich family, so he was given training. Arjuna was given more preference. No. In the previous ages, especially the Vedic era, these kind of discrimination were not done. They were very dutiful. So Dronacharya was such ideal Brahmana, ideal teacher. And Pandavas were his dear students. And he was very much Pandava Pakshapati. They were all part of Pandavas. They were a little partial to Pandavas because they were all fatherless children. And they were grown up by Vidura and Bhishma, their uncle and grandfather. So they were very, very dear to him. Bhishma actually especially was loving so much his grandsons. Whereas they knew, because how Dhritarashtra, he was not only blind externally but internally also, because his buddhi, his intelligence was polluted by jealousy. So this evil-minded Dhritarashtra, it is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita also, is evil-minded. Although he has taken a position of a king and is blind, so he is not qualified. So Dhritarashtra and his son Duryodhana, they always wanted to kill Pandavas. But they were always being blessed by Lord Krishna. So even though they were in a precarious condition, they are always being protected. And they were very affectionate, and they got affection from grandfather, from their teachers, from their uncles. So even Dronacharya had affection. And they had taken care, the Kauravas had taken care of them. So dutifully, instead of joining the party of Pandavas, both Bhishma, Dronacharya, they took the party of Kauravas. And when Arjuna went for fighting, he threw an arrow on the lotus feet, on his feet of his teacher and elderly grandfather, Bhishma. And the teacher also put one more arrow on his head. I bless you. What is a blessing? Now you can kill me. This is a blessing. So very ideal Brahmana, very ideal teacher. So his son Ashwatthama, until his father was living, he knew that Pandavas were his side. But he also took to the side of Kauravas only, because father is there in his side. And somehow he took a wrong side, and Ashwatthama was very determined to somehow kill Pandavas, because he had seen that they have killed my father. He became very inimical. But initially he was not so inimical. But right now he wanted to satisfy his now false master, Duryodhana, who was lying in the battlefield wounded by Bhima. And he was about to die. In that situation he wanted to please him, by killing all the Pandavas and bringing their heads to him. So that night what happened? That Ashwatthama mistook the Pandavas, Draupadi's sons, as Pandavas, and he cut off their head. Sometimes it is said that he mistook as Pandavas, and some people explain no, he knew that they are Pandava's sons. He wanted to kill everybody. Whatever the reason, he cut off the heads and he took that 5 heads in his hand to show to his false master Duryodhana. Duryodhana, although he wanted to kill Pandavas, at the end moment, when he was about to die, he was not happy with the grievous act or offense what Ashwatthama has created. He was not very happy. Ashwatthama is not satisfied. He wanted to kill everybody up to the last child who is in the womb of Uttara of Kuru dynasty. So Kuru dynasty, Pandavas and Kauravas, they both belong to Kuru dynasties. But here the last child, because now Pandavas have eliminated Kauravas, now the last child within the womb of Mother Uttara, it is called as the Kuru Amsha, the last child. So Ashwatthama put a Brahmastra to kill. You see how they are all in lamentation and they have gone to, finally whoever have been killed, they have gone there, Pandavas have gone as a custom to deliver water to the dead relatives. They are in this mood. The other side, Ashwatthama is in the mood to kill somebody who has not died. He's still in the womb also, he wants to kill. So this is the mentality of the world. There are people who are dying and there are people who are ready to kill somebody, and there are people who even when they are living they are like dead, because they can't live a life which can give them happiness. They are always feeling how to make people's life misery, and that gives them some enjoyment. This is material world. Everybody wants to make themselves happy by showing how they are so controlled by keeping others in misery. A Kshatriya is the one who is supposed to protect this. That's how in the Vedic age, each and everything were considered so important, especially these 3 categories of people. They were protected. Who were protected? In the glorious days before the advent of the age of Kali, the Brahmanas, the teachers, the cows, women, children, and elderly people, old men, were properly given protection. They were given protection, full protection. Why protection is required for them? Special protection is required. It is mentioned, the protection of the Brahmanas, or the learned people, intelligent class of people, maintains the institution of Varnashrama and the most scientific culture for attainment of spiritual life. This is point number 1. Why protection is required for them? In the purport, Prabhupada is writing in the text 5 purport of the 8th chapter, 1st canto, there are 5 points The first one is the protection of the Brahmanas or the intelligent class. He maintains the institution of Varnashrama, the most scientific culture for attainment of spiritual life. Why spiritual life is required? Because there is a speech by one scholar recently that 100 years back in 1918, when there is no much technology, people could live like human beings without much radioactive elements in the nature. So that time they got one flute, Spanish flute. When we advance in so-called scientific technology and increase chemicals, radioactive elements within the earth, it pollutes the atmosphere. People don't know how to be happy. So we think that we can create technology and technology will make us happy. In factory we can produce some screw, nuts, bolts, we cannot eat tire. In factory if we prepare bread, we can eat, biscuits we can eat, food we can eat. We can change the food elements, prepare some recipe and make a food. But food by itself is produced from nature, Mother Nature. We cannot produce food by mixing some chemicals. We require grains, sugar, ghee, so many items for us to survive. This we are not able to manufacture in our factory. We can only bring the raw materials and we can make some processed food. So this idealistic way of life is designed in the Vedic life. How naturally we can be happy by having cows, little farming, organic food, fresh air, good water, we can become happy. But here, artificial way of life is forced upon everyone. So 100 years back, radio waves were introduced in the early 19th century. And the scholar who is explaining in this lecture is saying how immediately when the radioactive elements entered within the earth periphery, how a flu got spread. Just like we send a message in our WhatsApp from here to any part of the world, it goes very fast. Even the virus can spread. It is not under our control. If you can spread a message, even virus can be spreading. It has its own elements. It has its own mechanism how to spread. In 1960s, we introduced much more technology. We were trying to send satellites above the earth. Space technology improved. The result was there was one more flu in the 1960s. Now we have increased our technology, 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G. The fully equipped technology, they say it is like a blanket on the earth. Maybe with some 5,000 or 6,000 satellites above the earth, it's like a blanket covering. So how much of radioactive elements have to be actually is going around the earth? So it is saying it's much difficult for a human being to survive like a human being in this 21st century. So it requires much more higher energy, much more spiritual potency for a human being to remain like a human being. So in his speech he ends up with this. that when you have to stay in this present world with so much of technology which is actually giving reverse mechanism, which is making us our life more miserable, more new diseases are coming. We may survive for more time or we may die at any moment. So in the Vedic age, this institution of being guided by the intelligent class of people, Brahmanas. Brahmana are not by caste, as I told, it is by their intelligence, by their detachment from this material world. Not that they are enjoying so much the material world and they will be saying others don't enjoy. As a class, intelligent class, they are intelligent class not to enjoy this material world, not to enjoy these material senses. Their enjoyment is higher enjoyment, higher with the higher senses, with the higher mind, higher intelligence, with the soul. Their enjoyment is with the super soul. Right now, because such kind of intelligent class of people are not guiding the society, it is just like a headless society. Without the head, our body cannot work. We have our central processing unit in computer. Without that, the external monitor, you may keep a LED screen or whatever kind of screens, has no use. Our central processing is a brain. So brain is so important. Somebody can take birth. Somebody may have some challenges in the brain and he may take birth very strong. Their body can have 6-pack, 7-pack, 8-pack, whatever pack. But suppose brain is not working, what is the use? That is why in the Vedic age, such intelligent class of people were required and they were given importance to run the society. They were not blindly told that you can invest on only technology and not on wisdom. They were told to increase character, not only virtue of money and some external. People now are restricting that you should not do any religious affairs or political affairs. That is nice if it is affecting the society. But they are not guiding how they have to be personally following all this in their life. Personally in their life, if they don't have, in the name of secularism, we call secularism, but the secularism is meant to be followed by everyone with whatever religion, whatever rituals they are following. They are supposed to be following it very perfectly, without compromise. That's the real idea of secularism. Secularism is not atheism. Now present Indian secularism means they presented it like we are very secular. Very secular means what they mean is we don't follow any religion. But actual meaning of secularism is everybody should follow their particular religion, whatever is told. And if they are following that, then we can say others. That's why such kind of intelligent kind of discussions or wisdom is not provided in this age. So this intelligent class of people is very important. In the glorious day of the Vedic age, this was followed. And the next one was the protection of cows. It maintains the most miraculous form of food. Actually, cows produce a lot of positive energy. A lot of research have been done. Wherever there are cows, it emanates good gases, it emanates cow dung, it gives cow dung, and actually which is very important for organic farming. And the organic milk, which is, if the cows are not exploited, The main idea of veganism is animals are exploited, so you should not take milk. They have a little more difference of opinion, that they say that you should not even take any organic milk, even if it is well protected. So we differ from that. In the Vedic life, cows are given very sufficient knowledge for cow keeping, sufficient knowledge is given for cow protection, sufficient necessities are there. Everything is so nice that cows are so happy to give milk. It is said that the milk bags are so filled that when they were walking in the Vedic age, the milk used to fall on the ground and makes the ground wet. The milk bags were so sufficient, filled with milk. And such miracle food of milk is so potent with nutrients. And with that, when they make clarified butter, ghee, and that is used for food, for yajnas, for sacrifices, it gives miracle effect. Just like when you burn petrol, you get gases which can affect the environment in a negative way. If you burn ghee, clarified ghee, they all give good positive energy. That's how when we do any spiritual, religious ritual, they light lamp with ghee. If not, they use little till oil or castor oil, nothing is there. But generally, the preferred is ghee. So these cows actually help for farming, for dairy purposes. And this actually protection is so important. In the Vedic age, they used to give importance for all this kind of protection. If you speak of protection, now people think that it is inferior. Why do we require protection? We are ourselves very great. Even though we are great, we require military to protect us. When there is military attack from the other countries, protection is so important, because we are not doing does not mean that there is no protection. The government is taking care of our protection. So the protection of the intelligent class of people to guide the society, this is the first one. The next one is protection of cows for agriculture and for giving the miraculous form of food, that is milk. And this milk, when properly taken, a lot of Ayurvedic medicines are made with medicinal ghee. And when you take too much of medicines, your body heat increases. And they say how when you take milk, it balances are within the body until you are having some, a lacto allergy, you are having some milk. If you take milk, you cannot digest. Even there also in Ayurveda, they recommend you can take buttermilk. And some people have more liver functions issues where they cannot digest milk at all. For them, go arka or the cow urine, which are filtered, that is taken as medicine. Otherwise, in general, cow in some or the other, cow milk as a form of ghee in medicines, or to actually the cow milk, it reduces the heat in the body. If you take hot milk, it says it increases the brain tissues, intelligence it increases. It is said that how, it is mentioned, it maintains the finer tissues of the brain for understanding higher aims of life. We used to see how in advertisements in television, if you drink milk, you will get nice energy for children to study. So advertisements were there for their milk powders. But actually, even if you take good milk, organic milk, it gives all good effects. Nowadays, lot of wrong propaganda is happening, that how milk is bad for health. This is a Western propaganda. There is now bad milk in the market, definitely, and we should avoid it. But milk by itself is not bad. If you take good milk, it is good. If you take anything bad, it is not only milk. If you take bad food, bad water, anything you take bad is bad. But the propaganda is made in such a way, there are campaigns that milk is bad. So which requires intelligent class of people to guide them. Right now their intelligence works only for how to eat well, how to sleep well, how to have a sexual contact with other people. This is only the intelligence work in this level. The intelligent right now is, we are all asked to close our mouth, mask, but the smoking is allowed. People can smoke. People are asked to increase their immunity, but alcohol is allowed. How by taking alcohol your immunity will increase? That means they want people to die early, so that without disturbance they can die. So such kind of thing, if you are having any problem, the best solution in any story or any film or any advertisement they show is, if you have any problem, you take alcohol, forget everything. The intelligent class of people used to not tell them to forget everything. They used to show them how to forget the past by whatever mistakes they have done, by increasing the real knowledge, by coming out of wrong activities. Not that you increase your sinful activities and then you take alcohol, become intoxicated and then feel, oh, now I can be happy. That is not the way of life. So first point was to protection of the intelligent class of people. Second one is to protection of cows. Third one is protection of women. They maintain the chastity of the society by which we can get good generation. We get good generation by women. If good generation is there, by good generation we get peace, tranquility and progress of life. You see, we saw in this first shloka translation that Striyaha, the women, they were walking in the front. So any religious functions we see how they are always, the women in the Vedic age were always in the front. They were always in the front, but they were given protection. So giving protection or taking protection is not an ego issue. When you are being attacked by some enemies, if our soldiers come and protect you, we should not feel, oh, why are you protecting? I am very strong. I will fight by myself. So there were no ego issues for protection. So nowadays everything is taken that why somebody should protect me? I myself am so great. Whether it is women or men, both feel that they are very strong and protected by themselves. What kind of protection they are getting? See, the tendency of the senses, the attraction is there in the past and even the present. It's not that in the Vedic age or 100 years back there was no attraction between man and women, or a man never desired a woman or women never desired a man. It was there. When a beautiful girl or a woman is going on the street, a man will definitely, when he is seeing her, he will also feel that attraction. But there was culture. By that culture, he will not want to go and talk to her or touch her. He has a lot of hesitation to do that. But now in the Western concept of life, where Indians have feeling that it's very advanced civilization, that anybody can go and approach, and that is not considered as an offense. And you can decently say whether you are interested or not interested. So the animalism, which after education is nicely promoted, that you can go and approach any girl or a boy and you can call her for a date. What is calling her for a date means we'll all go around and we like, you like me or I will like you. That's the first step. And it is said that just like a fire and a butter, if you bring butter or a ghee, you in a vessel and you keep it on the stove, you light the ghee, the hard ghee melts or a butter melts. The contact of opposite gender in the Vedic life is mentioned like that. We melt inside and we don't hesitate to have sense gratification with the opposite gender. In the Vedic life, when we have some cultural rules and regulations, then we avoid talking with women unnecessarily. It's not that talking is prohibited, not that a man cannot see a woman or women cannot see a man, but there is a training required how to not see a woman in an enjoying mode. See, a father is seeing a grown-up daughter. That same object, that same girl, that same woman is seen by her husband in a different mode. And that same girl, after marriage, when she has children, that same object, woman, she is seen differently by her children. She is the same for daughter, as a wife or as a mother, she is the same person. But the object of vision, how they are seeing is different. So this culture is so important. So, and this culture, how to see somebody and how to address them. In the Vedic age, they used to address every woman as mother, Amba, Ma, Mata. So it all starts with how they used to address each and everyone as mother. Even a daughter used to be called as mother. A younger sister or elder sister used to be called as mother. So mother was so part of their life. A woman has two kinds of affection she can share with men. And one is as a mother. And one more for progeny with her husband. And that should be protected. That nature has to be protected for her enjoyment. Her privacy should be protected. Today's polluted mind, by polluted generation, by polluted culture, everything is made in such a way that the man can have full pant, but the women will have half skirt. We are nothing against people to wear half skirt or trousers. We have no issue. But to make an example, how, if you see most of the dresses for men, formal dresses for men, if you check, they are mostly full hands or they have full trousers, full pants. For women, it is not always the formal dresses, not the, forget about casual, only the formal dresses itself. It's not that they are always completely covered. So why is it like that? Is it that they are in a warm country, so they require fresh air to move around? Is it like that? No, even in the coldest part of the region also, if you are in US, snowfall is happening also. There also you have bare legs. So this and all, are they created by women? No. Very systematically, men are very intelligent how to influence decent and chaste women. Even the women claim to be able to manage themselves without any men. There is a necessity of men who can deal with corrupted men to protect their women. And this is not considered to be that they are very traditional, orthodox. Even if you are traditional and orthodox, you are supposed to be not stopping the women to follow the spiritual life. In fact, in spiritual life, women has been given full independence to understand herself not as women, not as her body, but to understand that she is above the bodily concept of life and she is spirit soul, part and parcel of God. She is not limited to think she is this temporary body which can stay for 60, 70 years or 100 years. So they are very intelligent class of women with high knowledge spiritually, where we see in Bhagavatam, Mahabharata how Kunti Devi, this chapter is all about prayers of Kunti Devi, how intelligent prayers she is praying. And these are all recited by great acharyas, great men, appreciating her quality of intelligence, which regular men will not have. In Vedic age, a woman of high intelligence, she is not supposed to marry a person of low intelligence. Because she naturally has a higher intelligence, why she should go and marry a person of lower intelligence? Not only that, if a woman happens to marry a person with polluted intelligence and is a fallen husband, in Srimad Bhagavatam we see how there were in Mathura, the Brahmanas were there. In Vrindavan, they were all very fearful of Kamsa. And when Krishna and Balaram went playing near Vrajabhumi, in near one village, they were hungry. And the Brahmanas who were performing sacrifices, yajnas, they rejected Krishna and Balaram friends. Whereas his wives, Vrajavadus, the wife of these Brahmins, they welcomed Krishna and they gave him, fed him nicely. So this example is given that even if a husband, he actually, somehow suppose he becomes a fallen person, it's not that the wife should go on with him. So in the Vedic way of life, it is not that compulsorily you have to go with a polluted husband. So this independence, even in the Vedic way of life also, you can reject a polluted husband. So this protection of women, which is not an interesting subject in the modern context, but it is required that even if you are following spirituality, you are under a proper team of people who will not exploit you, either in the name of spirituality or material life, in the way of advancement of education. You should not be exploited by anybody. The next protection, there are 5 kinds of protection. The first protection was for the intelligent class of people, Brahmanas. The next was for cows. The next was for women. And the next is for children. So we may say that, no, we are giving proper protection to children. We are taking care of children very well. No. Where are we going wrong? Here they are saying, our starting child, when we get a children, the protection of children begins from the very day of begetting the children by the purificatory process of Garbhadana Samskara, the beginning of pure life. The children take birth by father and mother coming together. And the father, mother, when they come together and when the sperms and ovum come together and there is a formation of a pea size within the womb of a mother at the starting of procreation, it is not only the blood is, two blood is becoming one, mother and father blood. There is a consciousness also which is becoming one. It's called Garbhodana Samskara. It's a samskara. It's a purificatory process. It's a culture. A father and mother coming together to have a child through a sexual process was not considered a secret in the Vedic life. Because they were coming together with a proper consciousness. With that proper consciousness, when they have a child, knowing that the child who is taking birth has its responsibility for itself and for its parents. It is said that how when a child, a good child with proper consciousness is taken birth, it can save its parents from going to hell. Suppose they are there in the hell, by proper samskaras, it can save the ancestors from hellish conditions. So, this actually, the culture of even before the child takes birth, from that consciousness, the parents are responsible. This is how much the Vedic life, the responsibility is taken from. And then, the protection of the children gives the human form of life its best chance to prepare the way of liberty from material bondage. Such protection of children begins from the very day of begetting a child. So right now, the children are being given education, how good degrees they can make, how well they can speak English, how well they can type in the computer, how well they can do computer games, and after that, they are not even happy with their own parents. Many parents complain how their children, after giving them the best equipments, the best gadgets, money, independence, everything, still they are not happy. So we tell them how, just by feeding the body and feeding egos, you cannot make children happy. The more egos you feed in them, that you get good education, you get good certificates, they'll say, who are you, man? Who are you to ask me? I know better to earn myself. I know I am better in everywhere. So where is the respect for parents? Where is the obligation? Where is the culture? In which school books it is been taught that you have the obligation, when you receive something, you have to be ready to give their life for that. Where is the culture of that? This is what the protection of the children is. You have to protect them to the present circumstances. In the Vedic age, protection means we give them culture. It is not that the culture should be stopped. Like today, we just give them a mobile or a television, and the protection should be given to them even up to how much they have to be exposed. Just like I gave you example of a butter and a fire, it will melt. When two opposite genders, they are seeing from the childhood onwards in the television how two opposite genders are coming together, they are embracing, touching, kissing each other. What happens in the impression of a child? The child is seeing everything and they show it as a great thing, great enjoyment. It's like Brahma Sukham. In the Vedic age, the Sukham, the happiness is not considered of the body as ultimate. They see it as animalistic happiness. They say that how you require food, happiness, that they are all basic bodily requirements. But more than that, it is not seen as heavenly happiness. Although heavenly also is not more of body, it is more of subtle happiness. Affection, more of emotion, heavenly beauty, heavenly intoxication is different from this earthly happiness. But that is also bodily platform. So the happiness in the heavenly planets, in a more committed way, in a more theistic way. But nowadays, when in the television they show happiness of a boy and girl coming together, they touching and shaking their hands is considered to be like, wow, it is like so great, so much happiness. That's how a girl throws a rose or a boy throws a rose on them. Oh, it is like so happy. And what is happy? Only for that one day, 2 days, 3 days, and that time that girl throws rose, there is no happiness. The second girl should throw rose, or a third girl should throw rose. So what happened to the previous girl throwing rose? He threw her in dustbin. No more rose happiness has come. Now you throw, I'll throw you in dustbin. So does the children don't require protection from this? They have to be told how much commitment a friendship should be. Not that you enjoy, use and throw and put in dustbin anything you have got. Now I don't want. That's how they throw women also. They throw parents also. They throw their gadgets also. They throw their body also. So today's body, mind, intelligence has to be guided by parents. When they are seeing anything, they have to be taught about real knowledge, Vedic education, how people used to have proper education on how they are not this body and they are having intelligence and happiness above this body. So this is the protection which we have to give to the children. And why the old people should be protected. Number 5 is old people protection. The protection of old men. Men gives them a chance to prepare them for better life after death. So there is a life after death. That is why when everybody are crying, in the first shloka it is said that how the people, family members, when they die, somebody dies, they pour a pot full of Ganges for the departed soul. Because they know this body is not all in all. The soul has departed and it requires a higher progress of life. They are suffering in this material world and they have to go back. They have a higher life. And what is higher life? This world is made up of laws of nature and they are called dharma. And nobody can create their own religious formulas. Oh, I have made my own religion, I can do whatever I like. No. So, everybody have to follow the nature of the life. Material nature is there. Whether you have to be materially happy or spiritually happy, you have to follow that. And as long as we are in the material world, it is our duty to follow the orders of the Lord. And by the grace of the Lord, we become liberated from the clutches of material world. Then liberated stage means there is a transcendental life. So in the transcendental life, we will know what is life, what is moksha, what is mukti. Mukti hitva anyata rupam swarupena avastitihi. It is mentioned mukti means we are right now thinking that we are the body. So we are now working on the bodily platform. When we know we are not this body and we are spirit souls, we work on the spiritual platform and that is called mukti. Mukti or moksha is not that something you are in the sky, you are floating in the sky. Even when you are in this body, you can get jivan mukta. You can get liberation by understanding you are not this body. So this knowledge is so important. And when somebody is in the feeling bodily feelings and feeling that I am permanently, I will be in this world, and they are suffering with false representations by Maya, thinking that I am this body, I have to stay in this body, and they are crying so much. Like now when we are diseased, we may die 10 years earlier or 5 years earlier, or we may die after 80 years. But at any stage of life when you are dying with so much of illusion that I am dying, what will happen to my my family, what will happen to my friends? You yourself are dying, you don't know what will happen to you. How can you help others? So this is why in the protection of old men gives the chance to prepare themselves for better life after death. So what will happen to me after death? So this kind of opportunity is given. So this complete outlook is based on factors leading to successful humanity as against the civilization of polished cats and dogs. The killing of the innocent creatures is totally forbidden because even by insulting them, one loses one duration of life. So this protection is so important that if you insult innocent creatures, these are all considered to be innocent. Who are innocent? The Brahmanas, the cows, the women, the children, the old people, they are all considered to be innocent creatures. They are very innocent. To put a women or children or old people or somebody as great and not respect them, what will happen? If somebody, the killing of these innocent creatures is totally forbidden because even by insulting them, one loses one duration of life. A very important point. In the age of Kali, they are not properly protected, and therefore the duration of the life of the present generation has shortened considerably. In Kali Yuga, they don't actually respect or they protect, they insult women. And one very important point from Bhagavatam we understand, in the Bhagavad Gita it is stated, the women become unchaste for want of proper protection, and there are unwanted children called Varna Shankara. To insult a chaste woman means to bring about disaster in the duration of life. Dushasana, the brother of Duryodhana, insulted Draupadi, ideal chaste lady, and therefore the miscreants died untimely. These are some of the stringent laws of Lord mentioned above. Very important. We should never consider a woman only as an object of sense enjoyment, because a chaste woman, an intelligent woman who knows she is not this body, she has a higher goal in life. She doesn't anchor only for temporary nature in this body, in her present body. She is very intelligent, like how your mother Kunti and other women, they are walking in the front and they are lamenting for the souls who are departed. And here they are all in grief after the battlefield of Kurukshetra. And how Ashwatthama, whatever he was doing to kill the final child of Kuru within the womb, whatever he is doing, still they are not happy, because they are all in the bodily platform, running in the platform of revenges. But the Lord is there to protect everyone. The Lord protected Ashwatthama's target, who is the womb of Mother Uttara Parishit Maharaj. He saved by releasing the Sudarshana Chakra and destroyed the Brahmastra. And Lord Krishna and Munis, they pacified the shocked and affected family members, because this is how the laws of Almighty and the reactions upon living beings are. Because this is how the law of nature works. We see now people are dying suddenly, and sometimes they ask why it is all happening like this. So how many times can we say these are all laws of nature? So we keep on doing all dirty things. We keep on injecting in this material world chemicals, radioactive elements, and keep on killing animals. Nobody has stopped purchasing meat from the non-vegetarian market. They say that poultry farm is increasing. Even during this pandemic time, when people are all moving around, when lockdown is happening, when people are told that don't hurry up, They are not actually obeying. One day they cannot stay without eating meat. So how can you expect that your body meat should not be sacrificed? So your body meat also will get sacrificed tomorrow by the law of nature. Just like you want to eat others' meat, your meat also will be eaten by higher material nature. So we'll stop here, we'll discuss some other time. Srila Prabhupada ki, Srimad Bhagavatam ki.